Have you ever had a customer that makes you feel uneasy or unsafe? Maybe they answered the door in their birthday suit, or maybe they just gave off a generally creepy vibe. Did you know that DoorDash is now letting drivers block customers? But are they actually following through on that? I have the answer. What is going on, everybody? My name is Zach. I hope you are doing well. Before we get into the video, if you are new here, please do consider pressing the like and subscribe button so you never miss news, tips, tricks, and ride-alongs with a healthy dose of humor. When I started doing my research for this video, the intent was to cover a subject that I thought would have shined a positive light on DoorDash: driver safety. However, it didn't take long for me to realize that some of the claims that they made just aren't true. On November 14th, DoorDash announced some changes to make the platform even safer. Among these features was a push notification reminding customers to turn their porch lights on, real-time safety alerts, among other features. Now, I don't want to give off the impression that none of their claims are true because, frankly, many of them are. For example, customers are actually getting push notifications reminding them to turn their lights on. It's a small win for us, but it's a win nonetheless. DoorDash has also partnered with Samdesk, a real-time crisis detection platform. They claim this partnership will allow them to stop operations in areas where there's a risk to safety or life. And props to them if they actually use that information to keep us safe. But it is important to note that Samdesk is providing this information to DoorDash. At the end of the day, it's up to DoorDash what they choose to do with this data. In recent weeks, DoorDash has been ceasing operations in areas with extreme weather. I think the intent is good because, after all, we are talking about money-hungry DoorDash. For them to say, yeah, the few $1,000s that we're going to make in delivery fees isn't worth the wrongful death lawsuit is a step forward in my opinion. Now, with this one, I do have some mixed feelings. Of course, there are types of weather that no driver should be out in. For example, here are some pictures taken in my county after record rainfall caused massive flooding. It devastated several areas and left a couple of towns completely inaccessible. Stuff like this is a no-brainer. I just hope that they don't start shutting markets down when there's only a few inches of snow. Short of natural disasters, it should be left up to the driver's discretion. For example, I have no problem driving in the snow, but you may choose not to. Your market may be in Florida or Texas and frequently drive in thunderstorms. However, the moment that I see a bolt of lightning, I'm running inside and locking the fucking doors. Like, seriously, I'm terrified of lightning. My point is, driving just boils down to your comfort level. Some people don't drive at night, some people don't drive in the rain, and others don't drive in snow. Then there's people like me who enjoy doing donuts in parking lots in the snow while waiting around for $15 orders going 2 miles. But I digress. I'd like to take a moment to touch on how I found out about these new safety features. I get notified if something new is trending with companies like DoorDash and Uber Eats. These new safety features caused quite a stir in the media. DoorDash received a lot of very positive publicity. But the problem is, to me, it looks like most drivers don't know about these features. Now, they did send out an email, but as you'll soon see, many drivers just didn't know that this was an option. Perhaps an in-app message would have been more effective. A couple of weeks back, I put out a poll asking my viewers if they received a new update that allowed them to block bad customers. It's worth noting, when I asked this question, I myself didn't understand how this feature worked. And the results of the poll were pretty telling. 96% of you reported not having the feature, which tells me DoorDash made little to no effort to get this knowledge in the minds of the people who they're actually claiming to protect. I saw a ton of articles that were written about this subject, but yet only 4% of drivers knew about it. In fact, I didn't think I had received an email about this either, and then when I went back and checked, I did find something buried amongst the other unopened DoorDash messages. It was just one email lost in amongst the dozens of emails I get daily. Usually when DoorDash rolls out a new feature, you get some sort of a pop-up on your phone notifying you of the changes. I didn't receive anything like that. Let me know in the comment section if you did. To me, these features seem more like a publicity stunt than anything else. If we do this long enough, we're all going to encounter some kind of bullshit that makes us feel unsafe. Having said that, I've heard too many stories about customers making passes at women, and I've seen one too many news headlines resulting in serious injury or death. In fact, I have a story of my own. This happened on Grubhub, but the platform isn't really relevant as it just as easily could have happened on DoorDash. I misread a situation when doing a delivery and made a poorly timed joke, resulting in a very aggressive customer. I thought that guy was going to take a swing at me. I'm a 6-foot-something male, and if somebody substantially smaller than me thinks that they can get the upper hand on me, there's a reason for that. Not to mention, this happened in the middle of the day. Now, imagine a female dasher at night. After all, more than half of DoorDash drivers are women. I thought of a few scenarios that I could go into, but I feel like this one's pretty self-explanatory. As my story shows, things can just as easily happen to men. But people with ill intent look for people that they feel they'll have an advantage over. Every platform that we drive for needs to have the ability to block a customer built into the app. So when DoorDash started making the claim that drivers can now block customers, I was elated. The issue is, they're not doing it. At least not every time. Now, it's important to note, I did not go seeking out people who have had a negative experience with this. The fact that I came by the 2 stories you're about to hear is a coincidence. I didn't ask any pointed questions to come to this realization, nor did I make any suggestions that DoorDash wasn't following through. Remember, my community post asked you if you have this feature, not if you've used it, and not if it worked. I want to share the stories of 2 different drivers who took DoorDash up on blocking a customer. Our first example comes from somebody who wishes to remain completely anonymous. DoorDash sent me to a customer I demanded they block a week ago. I specifically said I'm never delivering to this house again for a few reasons. I took a stack and couldn't remember why the name was familiar. It's a common name, no shit. I was told they were blocked on my behalf and won't be sent another order from them. They 1-starred me as well. I'm gonna lose my shit with this company. So this driver requested that the customer be blocked for a few reasons, and admittedly, I don't know what all of those reasons were. But what I do know is, this driver reached out to support to have this customer blocked after DoorDash bragged about rolling out these new safety features, and then got the same fucking customer. This is pathetic. There's no background check to use the fucking DoorDash app. We could be delivering to literally anyone. Before I get too worked up, let me read you the second example. This comes from one of my viewers, Julius. He says, I called 2 nights ago to get a crazy woman blocked. I was told I won't get orders from her again. The next day, the very first order I received was from her. I'd like to remind you, 96% of the people who responded to my poll reported that they don't have this feature. And then 2 people reporting the same fucking thing fall into my lap. The issue is, you don't know when they follow through. You only know when they don't. I shouldn't have a single example of this, but yet I have 2 without even trying. And I'm curious to see how many more examples we'll have after this video is posted. A few people who responded to my poll, as well as the person from our first example, have all reported that they're getting push notifications asking if they felt safe during a delivery. Although it's a very small sample size, the common theme seems to be lower income areas that are triggering these notifications. I want to make it clear, this is my own personal speculation, and you should certainly formulate your own opinions. But that question's making me wonder if DoorDash is crowdsourcing information before deciding whether to block the customers. With drivers constantly going to strangers' homes, usually alone, sometimes at night, and sometimes in the middle of nowhere, our safety is not something to fuck around with. You could get summoned to the middle of nowhere and have your car stolen. Guess what? It's happened. You could get out of your car and get attacked. Guess what? That's happened too. You could get robbed and have your phone and everything in your pocket stolen. You guessed it. It's happened. But when we call them about a potentially dangerous person that needs to be blocked, that might not happen. I don't believe for a moment that DoorDash gives a fuck about our or anybody else's safety. If they did care about safety, they wouldn't have us reading 15 reasons why we're declining an order while we're driving. At the end of the day, we can only rely on ourselves to ensure safety. First and foremost, if you're legitimately in danger, fuck ADT and DoorDash. Call 911. You taking the time to fumble around in the app to call ADT could be the difference in you being okay and not. Now let's get to the steps that you can take if you encounter a sketchy situation that you don't want to be in again. Call driver support and request that they block the customer for you. Tell them you want this filed as a ticket and you expect a reference number. Keep a notebook with names and addresses of customers that you don't want to deliver to. When you enter a new name, make sure to enter the date and time that you called driver support as well as the reference number. That way, should you get that customer again in the future, you have a record of who they are and where they live, and that you had called support at an earlier date to request that customer be blocked. If you get to your delivery location only to realize that you had previously requested that customer be blocked, drive that order back to the fucking store. Your safety is not worth the minuscule amount of pay that they're going to give you for completing the order. Call support on the way back to the restaurant and tell them what you're doing and why you're doing it. Give them the information from your little block book. Furthermore, you drove all the way to the restaurant, picked up the order, and got all the way to the customer before realizing that DoorDash didn't follow through on their end of the bargain. Therefore, you expect to be paid the full amount. A couple more quick reminders that could come in handy at any point. You are not an employee of any of these companies, and therefore you don't have to do a damn thing that you don't want to do. Also, screenshot your orders. You never know when this might come in handy. Well, that is going to about wrap up the video. If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like and subscribe buttons so you never miss news, tips, tricks, and ride-alongs with a healthy dose of humor. My name is Zach. Take care.